Let's bring you this breaking news, shall we? And representatives from AFC Wimbledon, Merton Council and GRA Acquisitions have signed agreement that clears the way for a new stadium for AFC Wimbledon. Work can now start on the new AFC Wimbledon Stadium in Plough Lane. The new development of Plough Lane will bring to the borough an 11,000 to 20,000 seater football stadium, 602 much needed new homes, retail space, and how about this, a squash and fitness club too. We've got some quotes in, this coming from AFC Wimbledon Chief Executive Eric Samuelson, who said, "Everyone in football knows the story of how AFC Wimbledon came into being. A group of fans started with nothing, no ground, no team, no manager, no players and no kit. Now, 15 years later, we've taken a giant step towards going home to Merton in a new stadium and as a Football League club. This is a momentous day for us." Now, 15 years after AFC Wimbledon were formed, an agreement has been signed by the club and Merton Council to allow work to start on a new stadium in Plough Lane. The new development of Plough Lane will bring to the borough a stadium with a capacity of up to 20,000, 602 much-needed new homes, retail space and a squash and fitness club.
It's well deserved. It's been a long process for them and it really is fantastic. Wimbledon is a real unique club. It's a traditional old school English club, and from when I was young I've got fond memories of being there. You know, it always had that family atmosphere. You know, when you came in as a youngster, from getting into the first team, reserve team, there was always that kind of family environment, and they had young players from all over London, and you know, we had a few international players as well, but it was always that family environment.
Another most remarkable of homecomings now, and to their spiritual home in Merton. AFC Wimbledon have finally been given the go-ahead to build their new stadium at Plough Lane, just yards from where the club originally played. Sam Holder reports from South London.
Arguably AFC Wimbledon's greatest ever victory. Permission to move back home. Plans agreed for a new 11,000-seater stadium in Merton. A dream for fans since the original Wimbledon was made extinct.
We're coming home. The clue's in the name, isn't it? Wimbledon belong in Wimbledon, and that's where we want to be. We've had a temporary home, which we very much enjoyed in Kingston since 2002, but always the objective was this is where we need to be.
There's so much excitement and buzz. Obviously, I played for the club for 11 years, Premier League and Championship, and now I've come back to manage it, so there's a lot of history for me.
The location of the new site couldn't be more significant. Just 200 metres from here, this block of flats used to be the Plough Lane Stadium, where Wimbledon played for 79 years. They left in 1991 to find a more modern ground. They ended up sharing with Crystal Palace before one of the most controversial decisions in football history. Fans here mourning the club's move and rebranding as Milton Keynes Dons. In its place, fan-owned AFC Wimbledon was born, but had to rent a ground outside the borough. The new complex, replacing the Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium, will also include 600 flats, but it sparked new local rivalries.
So the concern is not about football returning to Wimbledon. The concern really is that that return will put pressure on the infrastructure in our neighbourhood, both in transport towns, but also the associated flats will have impact on the health authority, on the schools, places and so on.
On the pitch, AFC Wimbledon have risen from the non-league here to League One. This new stadium is seen as the final step in returning football to the area. Sam Holder, ITV News.
OK, it's a good day for AFC Wimbledon. The football club has been given the go-ahead to begin building work on their new stadium. The team, which was set up when the original Wimbledon was controversially moved to Milton Keynes, are to redevelop the former Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium and hope to move in 2019. Here's Chris Legg.
A time for celebration. The piece of paper which means AFC Wimbledon can start to build their new home back in their home borough of Merton.
This will be extraordinary, really, when you think about where we started with so little and nowhere to play. We'll have a 20,000 capacity stadium we're entitled to build. We're going to start with 9 or 10. It's, I think, easily the biggest thing that's happened since we started.
When the owners of the original Wimbledon moved the club 50 miles north to Milton Keynes, fans set up AFC Wimbledon. They currently play in Kingston, but have long dreamt of returning home. The venue is being built on the site of Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium. The plans, not surprisingly, met with opposition from the racing fraternity, who feel like they've been forced out. And there have been other critics too. Neighbouring Wandsworth Council have called the development excessive. Sadiq Khan, when he was MP for Tooting, opposed the plans but waved them through once he became a London mayor. And local residents, some of them are particularly concerned about the impact this new stadium will have on the nearby roads.
This application has been consulted to death. A lot of people have been talked to, so I do not believe there will be any issues. It'll be regenerate the area to a great degree.
It's been billed as a spiritual homecoming because the original Wimbledon used to play at Plough Lane, since turned into flats, and that's just 250 yards away from the new venue.
There's been so much hard work, so many obstacles that have been put in the way. So to finally get over them all, like this club always do, and get to this point now where it's been signed off and we can look forward to the next 2 and a bit years, it's absolutely amazing.
The hope is the stadium will open in 2019. For AFC Wimbledon, it really does feel like football's coming home. Chris Legg, BBC London News.
Now, it's been a momentous day for AFC Wimbledon. The club, founded by fans when the original Wimbledon moved to Milton Keynes, is a step closer to having its own brand new stadium. This morning, demolition work began to clear the site that will eventually become home to the Dons. Chris Legg reports.
3, 2, 1.
When you've waited this long, what's a few more seconds? Dodgy klaxon sorted, demolition could begin. Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium is being ripped down to be replaced by this, an 11,000-seat stadium for AFC Wimbledon, with potential to expand to 25,000 seats.
Oh, it's a massive day, isn't it? It turns something from plans on paper and hopes and dreams into a piece of physical reality.
AFC Wimbledon currently play in Kingston, but the aim has always been to return to their home borough.
Kings Meadow has been very good and it's been a part and parcel of the club's history now as such. But to come to a new stadium, which is a massive thing, is their own home. They will own it, they will be able to decide everything about it.
Now, it's taken a long time for anything to happen here. AFC Wimbledon got planning permission back in December 2015, but 5 months later, the then Mayor Boris Johnson called the plans in. That decision was reversed when Sadiq Khan took up residence at City Hall, even though he had opposed the redevelopment when he was the MP for neighbouring Tooting. Now, there has been opposition from local residents. One of the concerns, whether the road networks around here can cope with 11,000 fans coming to this site every other week.
We're very confident that we can appease those people who have those worries about transport, about flooding, about the need for more schooling and for more GP practices. All that was addressed in the tumultuous planning application.
If all goes to plan, AFC Wimbledon will be in their new home in time for the start of the 2019-20 season. Chris Legg, BBC London News.